Mojang has removed our fastest and bestest beacon factories and wither skeleton farms in the most recent beta, and the weird thing is that this new style of wither skeleton farm was just added in 1.19, so it's only been around for a couple of months, and it's a weird flip-flop in decision making from Mojang to remove such a new feature. So beta 1.19.60.22 is removing the ability for wither skeletons, and endermen to spawn next to nether portals. In 1.19 all the way up to 1.19.50, you could have wither skeletons spawn right next to a nether portal and they would get pushed directly into the portal immediately, removing them from the mob cap and allowing you to get up to 8,000 wither skulls per hour. Yeah, per hour. It's crazy. Wither skeletons, and endermen now require a light level of 7 or below to spawn instead of a light level of 11. Now the portals put out a light level of 11, so it appeared that when this feature was added in 1.19, it was a direct decision to allow for this type of farm to be created. But now they have repealed that decision just a couple of months later for no apparent reason besides the fact that we were using it and it turned out to be really good. Of course, it is extremely overpowered that a farm that is just like some nether portals can get you 8,000 wither skulls per hour, but that also requires countless charge creepers and all kinds of shenanigans, is not nearly as powerful over on Java Edition, where this change was recently implemented in a recent snapshot. Of course, it doesn't really matter how powerful it is if it's giving you thousands upon thousands of mobs every couple of minutes, does it? I mean, it's all the same once you get into those kinds of rates. We still have extremely powerful wither skeleton farms on Bedrock Edition, where the mobs spawn in, immediately fall down, and then get pushed into a nether portal, and this produces about 2,700 wither skulls per hour, which is still like way more than you need, but it is a lot less than 8,000, and it takes a lot longer to build and more resources. It's still incredibly easy to build and incredibly powerful, however. So this type of farm will be removed in 1.19.60, which is going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks. So if you have this built, use it now, use it as much as you can, or just use it for 5 minutes and that'll give you all the wither skulls you ever need. And if you want to build it, you better build it really quickly and use it while you can. Now, there are still ways to build this style of farm even after 1.19.60, but it requires bugs and that's not quite ideal. So you either need to get yourself another portal tile or some sort of replacement for that. And you might see this style of farm pop up on Truly Bedrock sometime soon. So if you want to see this style farm in action, make sure you subscribe, that way you don't miss it. Of course, there's a lot of other really good changes in beta 60.22, and Mojang is not even finished working on 1.19 yet. As you might know, they added the new feature where you can put mob heads on note blocks to get their ambient sounds. And of course, they added the piglin head, and they added the iron golem, snow golem, ender dragon, and wither spawn eggs to the game. So these are all good features that are coming in 1.19.60 to Minecraft. So this is not a 1.20 exclusive like I had originally thought. And of course, they're still working on 1.19 for Java Edition as well. So Mojang is still finishing up the 1.19 update, giving us some extra little features and things to play with before fully moving over to 1.20. Speaking of 1.20 features, we have a couple of additional updates in this beta. We now have the block of bamboo and block of stripped bamboo varieties, and of course you can craft these out of regular bamboo, so it takes 9 bamboo to make 1 block of bamboo, and you can no longer craft the planks directly. You need to use a block of bamboo to give you 2 planks. Now, a regular block of bamboo can be stripped and turned into the yellow variety, and they've also recolored the scaffolding ever so slightly just to match the rest of the bamboo set. There's been a slight change to the bamboo hanging sign. You now need 6 blocks of stripped bamboo and 2 chains in order to make 6 hanging signs, which seems a little bit weird. Why can't we just use the blocks of bamboo? I know they're green, but like, it's kind of annoying to have to strip your logs in order to make your hanging signs. You can also now use the bamboo planks and slabs to make anything that you want out of these. They're kind of like a universal block, so now you can use these to make like chests and all that kinds of good stuff. Keep in mind that you can't craft anything out of the bamboo mosaic, blocks, or slabs. These are not universal wood types, and they can't really be used for anything. Chiseled bookshelves have been updated on Bedrock, so now you can put the books in whatever slot you want, and now hoppers also work with the chiseled bookshelves as well to put books into them and to take books out of them. A really nice refinement to the sleeping system is now whenever you have a player in the nether or the end dimension, that is not going to stop people in the overworld from skipping the night. And also, if you have people sleeping in the overworld and you decide to go to the nether, that is then going to skip the night for the overworld players. So it's pretty much instantaneous. There's been a huge amount of refinements and quality of life updates to rideable and tameable mobs such as camels and donkeys and mules and horses and llamas and pigs and striders and oh my. So now you can just click on any of these mobs with their relative item and it will automatically equip it to them, such as clicking on a camel with a saddle. That'll just put the saddle right on there. Dispensers can now also auto-equip these things, such as saddles onto camels, but keep in mind that these mobs need to be tamed first. You can't just use a wild mob. So now you can click on a mule with a saddle or a chest. Horses you can click on with their saddles and armor, and donkeys you can click on with these saddles and chests. Llamas you can click on with a piece of carpet or a chest, and then horses can be auto-equipped with their saddles and their horse armor via dispensers. Same goes for mules when it comes to saddles and chests as well, and then the llamas can get their carpets and chests. Striders and pigs can be auto-equipped with saddles, and then you can also just look at these guys with a saddle as well. Dispensers will now only shear a single sheep at a time that's in front of them instead of multiple, as you can see there. So this might change up slightly some sheep farm designs. Dispensers can now cut the heads off of snow golems, as you can see there. That's kind of a useful feature for certain things. And they can also cut the mushrooms off of mushrooms, turning them into cows. That was a very big particle, wasn't it? Okay, look at this. Bam! That's like a big explosion particle. Is that supposed to happen? Does that happen every time? That happens every time. Huh. How long has that been a feature? Because that's like a big wither explosion right there. The more you know about Minecraft, right? Probably the only feature missing from dispensers is the ability to repair iron golems using iron and a dispenser, and that is a very minor feature that would probably never be used anyway. And moving on to beta 1.19.60.21. This is the beta that adds the new mob heads on top of note blocks, the piglin head, and of course the new spawn eggs for the dragon, wither, snow golem, and iron golem. Now keep in mind that the wither and ender dragon spawn eggs are currently in the creative inventory, but these are going to be removed from the creative inventory in a future beta to prevent griefing. So if you want to get these, you need to give S and then the ender dragon spawn egg or wither spawn egg. If you put a lead on a sitting camel and move away from it, it will now sit up and follow you, which is very convenient. And of course, you can also hold a piece of cactus and that'll make them get up and follow you too. You can now sprint on a camel even when the player doesn't have that much hunger. Bamboo plant placement has been changed. So previously you could just look at the side of a bamboo plant and place more on top of it. This allowed you to make very tall bamboo plants, like all the way to sky limit, as long as you kept holding down the plant button. But now you have to place it on top of the bamboo. So if you want really tall bamboo plants really quickly, you gotta like nerd pull up. You could also use bone meal to make them taller faster, but that's not nearly as fun as placing down 3 stacks of bamboo on one plant. There's been a pretty significant upgrade to the wither rows. All mobs are now allowed to pathfind and walk through them, so they don't see it as a danger block. And this is actually really helpful for mob farms, because now we can give these guys a little bit extra damage. If you're in peaceful mode, lightning bolts will now damage villagers, but it will not turn them into a witch. So keep that in mind. It only takes a couple of lightning bolts to kill a villager. Now, because we're on peaceful mode, it's not going to convert them into a witch, so you are safe from that. Of course, you should always put a big roof above your villagers to protect them from lightning, or just put down a lightning rod in the area, or both. Both is good. Do both. Villagers will now check that the block above them can have rain pass through it before lighting off fireworks when they have completed a raid. So if we kill all these raiders, these guys are going to have a raid victory, and only this one is going to set off fireworks, as you can see here. Now, there's still the possibility for these fireworks going in bad directions and damaging this villager, as you can see there. Just make sure there is a block above your villagers, as there always should be, in order to prevent them from killing themselves with rockets. There's been a slight change to melons and pumpkins. The pumpkin and melon block themselves can now be placed on top of mycelium or moss blocks. Now, these are very picky plants. They're not going to place it on top of like stone or cobblestone or planks or anything. They only place the pumpkins on top of like dirt blocks, for example. So this just allows you to build your farms out of various other blocks that you wouldn't normally be able to. There's been a much appreciated change to the particles from beacons and conduits. As you can see, the beacon particles, these little fart bubbles that are on screen, are now very transparent, very see-through, and there's not nearly as many of them. As you can see, they are very light now. That's not nearly as bad as it used to be. They used to be like these giant blobs on your screen that you couldn't see through, and this also applies to the conduit as well. So these particles are not nearly as intrusive. They don't block nearly as much of your vision or your screenshots that you try and take, and overall, it's just a great change. This change does not appear to apply to the potion particles that are on screen whenever you have a potion effect, so keep that in mind. Overall, 1.19.60 is looking to be a very good update with a lot of nice quality of life features, good additions to the game, and overall good stuff. So if you enjoyed today's video, then drop a like and maybe subscribe so that you don't miss future ones. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys down in the comments and in the next one. And then there was silence.